On Capitol Hill, Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley will be in the hot seat as furor over the administration's boat strikes in the Caribbean intensify.
I frankly think it's absolutely illegal.
I want to hear the truth. 1 strike, 2 strikes, 3 strikes? How many people in the water?
And this morning, new details about that September 2nd operation that has some accusing the administration of war crimes. The suspected drug boat is seen here being hit by a U.S. airstrike. Shortly afterward, sources say 2 survivors were seen climbing back onto the boat. It's against the laws of war to strike shipwrecked survivors.
And this is not a complex legal theory. This is not a gray area. The manual addresses this exact situation with crystal clarity. Orders to fire upon the shipwrecked are clearly illegal.
But the sources say they were potentially in communication with others in the area and attempting to salvage some of the drugs that had been in the boat's cargo. Because other vessels were in the area, sources say, they were determined to be, quote, still in the fight and considered a valid target. ABC's Selena Wang asked President Trump if he will release video of the second strike.
I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release, no problem.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who oversees the operations, says he personally didn't see any survivors or the second strike, but calls the decision to strike twice Admiral Bradley's call.
He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back.
But this morning, Hegseth is facing backlash.
I don't like the Secretary of Defense blaming on a military commander. These commands came from him, and I think the buck stops with him.
And now lawmakers will have more questions for Hegseth after a new Pentagon watchdog report concluded he risked endangering U.S. troops when he relayed sensitive information about military strikes in Yemen over the commercial messaging app Signal back in March. Sources tell ABC News the Defense Department's Inspector General says Hegseth shared information classified by U.S. Central Command on the app with colleagues and even his wife. On one of the Signal chats, a reporter was mistakenly added to a chain with some of the most powerful people in government. Hegseth, facing pressure, said at the time he knew exactly what he was doing.
Nobody's texting more plans. I know exactly what I'm doing, exactly what we're directing.
Sources say Hegseth refused to sit down for an interview as part of the investigation, instead telling the IG in a statement that he has the power to classify and declassify information and that the chat on Signal would not put troops at risk if exposed, an assertion the IG rejects. Hegseth says the report has exonerated him by the finding that he didn't share classified information. But again, the investigation also came to a conclusion Hegseth has long denied that the chat details could have endangered the lives of American military pilots.
And of course, the way they come up with that idea that he didn't put forward classified information is that he just declassified it himself. Meanwhile, we're also learning that the admiral in charge of the Southern Command where these operations are taking place was forced out.
He was forced to retire. He was told to retire. This is Admiral Alvin Halsey. And the retirement was announced in October, but we are told that it was one of those things where he had some questions about the legality of these strikes in Venezuela, in the Caribbean, and he is now on his way out.
Georgia Raditz, thanks.
Those are questions people still have. All right. Thank you so much, Martha.